Hi there, amazing parents. Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever found yourself in that moment, you know the one, your little one, maybe just one or two, maybe closer to 4 or 5, suddenly dissolves into a puddle of tears? Maybe their carefully constructed block tower just tumbled down. Maybe their favorite crayon snapped in half. Or maybe, honestly, you have absolutely no idea why the waterworks started. And in that split second, what's the first thing that often jumps to our lips? It's almost automatic, isn't it? Don't cry. Or maybe, it's okay, stop crying. Or even, there's nothing to cry about. We say it with the best intentions, truly. We want to soothe them, we want the crying to stop, maybe because it pulls at our heartstrings, maybe because we're in public, or maybe, just maybe, because we feel a little helpless ourselves in the face of those huge, overwhelming emotions pouring out of such a tiny person. But have you ever stopped to wonder if that knee-jerk reaction, that well-meaning "don't cry," is actually helping them in the long run? Could it, perhaps, be sending a different message entirely? A message that says, your feelings aren't valid, or your emotions are inconvenient, or even, feeling sad or frustrated is wrong. Today, we're diving deep into this very common parenting scenario. We're going to explore why shifting away from "don't cry" and embracing different approaches can be incredibly powerful for your child's emotional development. This isn't just about stopping the tears in the moment. It's about building a foundation of emotional intelligence, strengthening the trust between you and your child, and ultimately, helping them navigate those big, stormy feelings in a healthier way, which often leads to fewer intense meltdowns down the road. Think of it as equipping them with an emotional toolkit they'll use for the rest of their lives. So, grab a cup of something warm, settle in, and let's talk about 5 much more effective, connection-building ways to respond when your little one is overwhelmed by their emotions. The first, and perhaps most fundamental shift we can make, is simply to acknowledge and validate their feeling. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But the impact is profound. Instead of trying to immediately stop the emotion, we lean into it gently. Imagine your 3-year-old is sobbing because their sibling snatched their toy. Instead of "don't cry," you can have it back later. Try kneeling down to their level, making gentle eye contact, if they allow it, and saying something like, "Wow, you look really sad right now. It's so upsetting when someone takes your toy without asking." Or maybe, "I see those big tears. You seem really angry that your brother took the car." What does this do? It instantly tells your child, "I see you. I hear you. Your feelings make sense in this situation." It doesn't mean you agree with potential hitting or screaming that might accompany the feeling. We'll get to boundaries later, but it validates the emotion itself. Think about it from an adult perspective. If you were upset about something at work and vented to a friend, would you prefer they said, "Oh, don't be upset, it's not a big deal," or "Wow, that sounds incredibly frustrating. I can see why you're so annoyed"? The second response makes you feel understood, doesn't it? It opens the door for connection, rather than shutting it down. For our little ones, whose emotional worlds are still developing, this validation is even more critical. They often don't have the words or the self-awareness to understand why they feel so intensely. When we acknowledge their sadness, anger, frustration, or disappointment, we're essentially holding up a mirror to their internal experience. We're saying, "Yes, that feeling you have? It's real, it has a reason, and it's okay to feel it." This simple act builds immense trust. Your child learns that you are a safe person to show their true feelings to, even the messy, uncomfortable ones. They learn that emotions aren't something to be ashamed of or hidden away. This is the absolute bedrock of emotional regulation. You can't learn to manage feelings you're taught to suppress or deny. So, the next time the tears start, pause that automatic "don't cry" and try reflecting what you see. You look really disappointed. That must have felt scary. It's hard when things don't go the way you planned. You might be amazed at how simply being seen can sometimes begin to calm the storm, or at least, make your child feel less alone in the middle of it. This isn't about instantly fixing the problem, it's about connecting with the person experiencing the problem. Building directly on that foundation of acknowledgement comes our second approach, helping them name the emotion. This goes hand in hand with validation but takes it a step further. Little children, especially between 1 and 5, are experiencing a whole universe of complex feelings, but they lack the vocabulary to label them. Think about how overwhelming that must be, feeling this huge surge of something inside, whether it's red-hot anger or deep, sinking sadness, and having no words for it. It can make the feeling itself seem even bigger and scarier. When we gently offer potential labels, we're giving them a powerful tool. It's like giving them a handle to grasp onto something that feels slippery and uncontrollable. So, after acknowledging, "I see those tears," you might gently suggest, "Are you feeling frustrated because the blocks keep falling down?" Or, "It looks like you might be feeling disappointed that we have to leave the park now." Or even, "Were you feeling scared when that loud noise happened?" Notice the phrasing, often using "are you feeling," or "it looks like you might be feeling." Makes it an offering, not a command. It gives them space to agree or even disagree, which is part of their own learning process. Why is naming so important? Firstly, it builds their emotional vocabulary. Having words for feelings allows children to understand themselves better and, eventually, communicate their needs more effectively. Instead of just melting down, a child who learns to identify frustration might eventually be able to say, "I'm frustrated," which is a huge step towards managing it. Secondly, neuroscience tells us something fascinating. The act of naming an emotion can actually help to calm the brain's emotional center, the amygdala. Dr. Daniel Siegel talks about this as "name it to tame it." When we put language to an intense feeling, it engages the more rational parts of the brain, helping to integrate the experience and reduce the feeling's overwhelming power. Think about how you might apply this. Your 2-year-old is crying because they can't get their shoe on. Acknowledgement: "It's so tricky getting shoes on sometimes." Naming: "Are you feeling frustrated that it won't go on your foot?" Your 4-year-old bursts into tears when you say no to a cookie before dinner. Acknowledgement: "I see you're really upset right now." Naming: "It sounds like you're feeling very disappointed that you can't have a cookie yet." It's not about stopping the feeling instantly, but about helping them understand it. This process turns moments of distress into opportunities for learning and connection. You're not just managing a behavior, you're actively teaching your child about their own internal world, empowering them with the language they need to navigate it. And as we continue to explore these approaches, you'll see how this understanding paves the way for even deeper emotional skills. So, we've talked about the immense power of simply seeing our children's feelings, acknowledging them, validating them, and helping them find the words, like frustrated or disappointed or sad. These first 2 steps are crucial because they communicate acceptance and understanding, building that vital bridge of trust. But what often needs to come alongside, or immediately follow, that verbal recognition? It's the incredibly important element of offering comfort and connection. Sometimes, words aren't enough, or maybe words aren't even what's needed most in that moment of peak distress. Think about when you're truly upset. Does a logical explanation always help? Or does a quiet hug, a hand squeeze, or just someone sitting patiently beside you sometimes feel more soothing? Our little ones are no different. In fact, the need for physical comfort and a sense of safety during emotional storms is even more pronounced. Their nervous systems are literally wired to seek co-regulation, that is, they rely on our calm presence to help their own bodies and minds return to a state of balance. So, when your toddler is mid-meltdown because playtime is over, after acknowledging, "I know, it's so hard to stop playing," and maybe naming, "You seem really sad that we have to go," the next step might simply be to offer comfort. This could look like opening your arms for a hug. It might mean sitting down next to them on the floor, even if they initially resist, just letting your quiet presence be felt. It could be a gentle back rub, or simply saying softly, "I'm right here with you." Sometimes, just being physically near, offering that nonverbal message of "you're not alone in this big feeling," is the most powerful thing you can do. It's important to differentiate this from immediately trying to fix the problem or distract them. While distraction can occasionally be useful for very young toddlers in specific situations, relying on it constantly teaches them to avoid feelings rather than process them. Offering comfort, on the other hand, says, "It's okay to feel this way, and I will stay with you while you do." This physical and emotional presence acts like an anchor for them in their turbulent emotional sea. It helps their overloaded nervous system begin to calm down. Think of yourself as their safe harbor. When the waves of anger or sadness crash over them, they know they can turn to you, and you won't turn them away or tell them their storm isn't real. You'll simply be there, offering warmth and safety. Consider the scenario where your child falls and scrapes their knee. The instinct might be to immediately jump to fixing it. It's just a little scrape, let's get a band-aid, don't cry. But what if you paused? First, acknowledge, oh wow, that must have hurt. Maybe name it, you look really scared and sad. And then offer comfort, come here, let me give you a hug. You hold them, let them cry into your shoulder for a moment, before you calmly say, okay, let's go take a look and get that cleaned up. See the difference? The comfort comes first, validating the emotional experience before moving to the practical solution. This reinforces that their feelings matter just as much as the physical boo-boo. It teaches them that seeking comfort when hurt or upset is okay, and that you are a reliable source of that comfort. This deepens your bond in ways that rushing to fix things never can. It's about connection before correction or solution. Now, this focus on validating feelings and offering comfort doesn't mean we let all behavior slide. This is where our fourth crucial strategy comes in, setting gentle but clear boundaries when needed. This is absolutely vital. It's possible, and necessary, to accept the feeling while not accepting harmful behavior. Our message needs to be, all feelings are okay, but not all actions are okay. Let's go back to the example of the child who is furious because their sibling took their toy. We acknowledge their anger, you seem really angry. We help name it, it's frustrating when someone takes your things. We might have offered comfort, do you need a hug? But what if, in their anger, they hit their sibling? This is where the boundary comes in. Comfort and validation don't extend to allowing harmful actions. Here, you need to intervene calmly but firmly. You might gently block the hitting hand and say, I see you're very angry, and it's okay to feel angry. But it is not okay to hit. Hitting hurts. Notice the structure, validate the feeling, I see you're angry, it's okay to feel angry, and state the boundary clearly, but it's not okay to hit, we use gentle hands. Throwing hard things can break something or hurt someone. The key is the tone, calm, firm, and non-shaming. We're not angry at them for feeling angry, we're stopping an unsafe or unacceptable behavior that stems from that anger. This distinction is critical. If we get angry ourselves or start punishing them for the feeling, they learn to suppress the anger, not manage the impulse. But if we calmly address the action while still acknowledging the feeling, we teach them self-control and respect for others, even when they are experiencing intense emotions. Think about a toddler throwing food in frustration because they don't like it. Acknowledgement, you really don't like the peas, huh? Naming, it seems like you're feeling frustrated or maybe even angry about having peas on your plate. Boundary, it's okay to not like the peas, but it's not okay to throw food. Food stays on the table or on our plate. You might then offer an alternative, if you don't want them, you can push them to the side, or tell me no thank you. This teaches them appropriate ways to express their displeasure or frustration without resorting to actions that cross a line. Setting boundaries isn't about punishment, it's about teaching. It teaches safety, respect for others and property, and self-regulation. It helps children understand the impact of their actions. When we consistently validate the underlying emotion while holding the line on behavior, we provide a secure structure within which they can learn to manage those big feelings more constructively. They learn that their anger doesn't have to lead to hitting, their frustration doesn't have to lead to throwing. This combination of empathy and clear limits is incredibly powerful for helping children develop both emotional intelligence and social skills. It shows them we understand their inner world, but we also have expectations for how they interact with the outer world. And this balance prepares them beautifully for the final step we'll discuss next. We've journeyed through understanding the importance of acknowledging our children's big feelings, helping them find the words for those emotions, offering that crucial comfort and connection, and setting clear, kind boundaries when actions become unacceptable. These steps together create a wonderfully supportive environment for emotional processing. But there's one more layer we can add, especially as children get a little older, perhaps closer to the 3, 4, or 5-year-old mark. Those simpler versions can start even earlier. This final approach is about moving towards resolution, but doing it collaboratively, problem solving with your child, once they are calm. This is a critical point. The timing matters immensely. Trying to problem solve or rationalize with a child who is in the throes of a full-blown meltdown is usually futile. Their emotional brain is flooded, and the thinking, reasoning part isn't really accessible. Remember that calm presence and comfort we talked about? That needs to happen first. You need to help them co-regulate, to feel safe and heard, until the storm begins to pass. Only then, when the tears have subsided or the anger has cooled, can you gently guide them towards thinking about solutions or alternative actions for the future. So, let's revisit the child who hit their sibling over the snatched toy. You've acknowledged the anger, offered comfort, and set the boundary. Hitting is not okay. Later, when things are calm, maybe a few minutes later, maybe even an hour later depending on the child and the situation, you can revisit it gently. Remember earlier when you were feeling so angry because your brother took the car? Hitting hurt him. What could you do next time you feel that angry? What are some safe ways to show you're upset? You might offer simple suggestions tailored to their age. Could you stomp your feet really hard? Could you come and tell mommy or daddy? Could you use your words and say, "Stop, that's mine"? Notice how this empowers the child. Instead of just being told what not to do, don't hit, they are invited to think about what they can do. You're essentially teaching them coping strategies and conflict resolution skills in a moment where they are receptive to learning. For a younger toddler, the problem solving might be much simpler. Perhaps they were frustrated because they couldn't stack the blocks. Once calm, you could say, "Those blocks were tricky. Maybe next time we could try building on the rug instead of the wobbly table? Or we could build a smaller tower first." You're modeling problem-solving thinking. This collaborative approach has huge benefits. It shows your child that you trust their ability to think and contribute to solutions. It builds their confidence and sense of agency. They aren't just passive recipients of rules, but active participants in figuring things out. It develops their critical thinking and planning skills. And crucially, it reinforces the idea that even after a big emotional upset, there's an opportunity to learn and grow from it. It turns a moment of conflict or frustration into a teachable moment, handled with connection and respect. Imagine your 4-year-old had a meltdown about leaving the playground. You acknowledged the disappointment, offered comfort, and held the boundary. It was time to go. Later that evening, you might say, "Leaving the park was really hard today, wasn't it? It's tough to stop playing when you're having fun. I wonder, what could make it a little easier next time? Maybe if I give you a 5-minute warning before we need to leave? Or maybe we can decide together which one last thing you'll do before we go." By involving them, you give them a sense of control and make them more likely to cooperate next time, not because they fear punishment, but because they were part of the planning process. So, these 5 approaches, acknowledging and validating, helping name the emotion, offering comfort and connection, setting gentle boundaries, and problem-solving together once calm, they aren't just isolated techniques. They weave together to form a powerful philosophy of emotional coaching. It's a shift away from dismissing or punishing emotions towards guiding our children through them. It requires patience, absolutely. It requires us, as parents, to manage our own triggers and frustrations when faced with tantrums and tears. It's not about being a perfect parent who never feels overwhelmed, but about striving to respond with intention and empathy more often than not. Remember, telling a child "don't cry" might seem like a quick fix, but it often teaches them to bottle up their feelings, leading to potential issues down the line, maybe more explosive outbursts later, difficulty identifying their own needs, or challenges in forming deep relationships. By contrast, embracing these more connected responses helps you raise children who understand their emotions, who feel safe expressing them, who trust that you'll be there for them, and who are gradually learning the skills to manage those feelings in healthy and constructive ways. You're not just dealing with today's tantrum, you're investing in your child's lifelong emotional well-being and building a relationship founded on deep trust and understanding. It's a journey, not a destination. There will be days when it feels harder than others. But every time you pause, take a breath, and choose to acknowledge, comfort, or guide instead of dismiss, you're making a positive deposit into your child's emotional bank account. You're showing them that feelings are human, manageable, and nothing to be ashamed of. And that, truly, is one of the greatest gifts you can give them. What do you think? Does this resonate with your experiences? Maybe one of these approaches feels particularly challenging, or perhaps you've already seen the benefits of shifting away from don't cry in your own home. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Sharing our journeys helps us all learn and grow together as parents. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps other parents find this content. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking that notification bell. We share practical tips, inspiring information, and insights into child development every week, all aimed at helping you navigate these incredible, and sometimes challenging, early years with confidence and connection. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, and for doing the incredibly important work of raising emotionally healthy, resilient little humans. Remember, small shifts in how we respond can make a world of difference. Keep up the amazing work, and I'll see you in the next video.